Hello everybody and welcome to our second game of the third place playoffs on the north side of Crossing in the Woods, winning their first game. We are seeing now Isildur playing as the Brits, backed up by his teammate as the Soviets, Von Asten.
And in the south you've got Devem playing as the OKW and his trusty teammate Helping Hands playing also as the OKW. Now, Helping Hands has put in a performance improvement plan for Devem. He's got a strategic sense of targets he wants him to reach, and it's a binding document whilst he's in his probational period. He's reliably informed me that Devem's performance will improve thanks to the stalwart management skills of Helping Hands.
Hans is, I think Hans... Devem played really well yesterday, it's fair to say. But we discussed this. Devem's kind of like, it's still in that 1v1 mode. He's such a good 1v1 player, and it always ends up like he's 1v1ing someone on one side of the map. Hans is like trying to control like mid and left and trying to move over.
Oh no, I think Devem's an amazing player. I was just maybe making an ironic joke at Helping Hands. But maybe making an ironic joke at Helping Hands, who for all his skills with regards to 2 versus 2 synergy, sometimes he gets a little bit angsty, and it has been on display on stream. So a lot of our community make a lot of in-jokes. New people, that's what the spam is about in chat, of course. But they are 2 great guys, they are 2 great players, and they are currently 1-0 down in this best of 5 series. So they're going to be battling hard to launch their Stern Pioneers into combat, launch their Folk Grenadiers into great positions, and make a real go of this game too.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate. He was hiding the Stern Pioneers behind the cover there, just trying to get some close range shots on the Tommies. Unfortunately, with the arrival of the Universal Carrier, that's been completely thwarted. Helping Hands, however, has done very well on his side of the map. He's managed to cap all the resources and is now going for 2 VPs, but of course double light vehicles at the start of the game. M3 scout car for the Soviets, Universal Carrier for the Brits. They need to get Raketans on the field immediately.
What a great counter. That is a fantastic counter to double OKW, because double OKW do not get Panzerfausts for the first 4 to 5 minutes of a game until they fully deploy and construct a truck. So their base buildings are trucks. They come out much like Company Heroes 1 Brits, but a lot more palpable. And it's an interesting kind of dynamic. But the important thing for this elite level game is they do not have the Panzerfaust, so the light vehicles cannot be snared with engine damage, and that leaves Devem and Hans a little bit vulnerable because they're double OKW. That's why right now Devem's getting a Raketenwerfer, a mobile anti-tank piece.
So I think we should point out we've very likely got newer players here, and some people might be wondering why units keep running close to each other or running into each other when they could just be drawing out these long engagements. It is just because every unit in the game, all the weapon profiles, all behave differently. Sometimes you need to get close in order to deal a higher amount of damage, so you've got to find the place for every unit in your arsenal. And it's a real dance, I think, actually, to play this game properly.
So much to it, as you say. It's almost got like a Call of Duty similar level of complexity, but it isn't a shooter game. It's an RTS, so it does one thing as well as a shooter game does in terms of what assault rifles do, what LMGs do, and what MP40s, for example, submachine guns do. But that's just a tiny fraction of an element of this game, and that's why it's so damn deep. Here come the Folk Grenadiers, ducking behind medium yellow cover, forcing away the Tommies. On the strategic map right now, it seems that both teams are equally poised. No big wins as of yet. It's just a frenetic early game situation, a melting pot for what's to come.
We just see that the British Vickers machine gun are trying to defend their fuel on the right side of the map, and the Vickers is going to be suppressing all that infantry coming across the negative cover of the river. An important unit, and well backed up by the Tommies and the Universal Carrier.
Folk Grenadiers pushing up, planting some sandbag cover behind that central victory point. Got Raketenwerfer. Stern Pioneers overwatching the situation. You can just see that the Universal Carrier is upgraded to a Vickers K-mounted variant, and it's actually in front of a Vickers machine gun itself. So there you go. And it seems that we might have a fuel dominant situation for Von Asten and Isildur, so we could be seeing an early T-70, possibly an early AEC armoured car for the Brits, so they'll have anti-tank and anti-infantry for days, and that should arrive quicker for them than their opponents thanks to their fuel control.
And all about getting those vehicles to the field quickly. Nice little stronghold position for OKW here. They're going to run into a mine, though, and that's going to take a couple of models down. Actually, one model on the Volksgrenadiers. Will the scout car give chase? There is a Raketten. Opens up with the first shot. I think it's in range for a second. He's pushing for vision with the Volksgrenadiers to launch the second shot, and it's a hit!
Gets it! What a shot there, right on the cusp of his range. He does a fantastic attack ground shot and gets the kill. Great work there by Helping Hands. He was under pressure thanks to that mine, talking of mines, but he somehow turned that pressure into a success, and that's what makes a great player.
Yeah, also as well, the foresight to see units running down here on the retreat. He lays a mine so that those units are suppressed. Let's have a look at DevM on the right-hand side, getting a successful flank on the Vickers, pushing the Brits away from this side. They'll get their fuel, they get the munitions, get the VP, and it's the very least they need to compete.
A new player in chat asks, is this game at such tight levels that they cannot afford to build a fuel cache in top level? That is exactly true. Manpower, when you become a very good player, suddenly becomes the most important economy in the game. There's lots of economies. There's fuel, there's victory points, there's population, there's munitions, etc. But manpower, all of a sudden, when it's really fine at these top echelons of play, becomes the most important dynamic, especially in the early to mid game passages, because if you've got more control, if your infantry squads are healthier, if they're doing more damage and they're more lethal, you're capping more points, and that leads to every other success in the battle.
Here the Volksgrenadiers, they're getting some green cover. You see the dots here? That indicates that there's green cover there. And taking the time whilst capping points just to make sure if they do get pushed into that territory, they can have a better fight. So love to see players playing that way. Helping Hands is always one of the best for it. What's Hands firing at here? He's trying to get actually the green cover barricade.
Destroying the exactly the Soviet sandbags there, so they can't control their territory points as well. Here we go, we've got a 6-pounder out for Isildur. We've got Tank Heavy Battalion Command coming down for Von Asten, so that's the T-70. That'll soon be on its way for 260 man-pass and 70 fuel. And he's doing more of it, Helping Hands. He's destroying those sandbags. What an aggressive chap.
Oh, so many mines in this game. Conscripts just get suppressed after 2 models die to a mine. And you see how much better the Volksgrenadiers fight when they are in these green cover positions. Green cover is an essential mechanic in this game to utilize. Where is the support here, though? The Rakettens are stealth and moving in. We've got an ISG for long-range indirect fire to try and keep the more static play of the British infantry at bay.
Ooh, those conscripts heard it coming, as did the Tommies. And that's what top-level players do. They listen to the audio cues, they hear the mortar, or in this case the ISG support gun, fire, and they move before it hits. But it does seem like the Axis, the double OKW from the south, are winning rather well. And they're doing a good job of controlling points at the moment. Just about to lock in a triple victory point count, which will more or less bleed their opponent's victory points by 1 per second.
It's been a tough game. And in fact, it was DevM and Hands that struggled playing allies on this map last time. This time, Von Asten and Isildur are going to have a taste of their own. And they really are finding it difficult to work together to get on top of the resource points. That being said, though, Hands and DevM have both gone over to the right-hand side. There is a huge gap on the left-hand side of the map right now to be taken advantage of, but they're still having a cluster fight in the center.
They are. The center is there for the exploitation, and here comes the Volksgrenadiers to punch a hole in that resistance. Oh, and they take out the Universal Carrier. The former crew members are strewn across the battlefield. Rakettenwerfer's also pushing up looking for a cheeky shot. And this is a fantastic push by DevM and Helping Hands. Down and then look after game 1, they're making a true go of game 2.
Absolutely. We just see, by the way, Panzer II Lukes. We saw this in the last game from Isildur. This time it's going to be in the hands of Helping Hands.
And he's going to be helping himself to many infantry kills with this anti-infantry based tank. Of course, a nice grenade.
Put that right through the window.
Oh,
good shot, sir.
There you go. His next draft pick for the NBA. It's clearly fantastic. Stern Pioneers do have the Minesweeper out. They're going to sweep for mines, and they're going to put that Minesweeper away into their back pocket. It's a feature of Stern Pioneers. And they're going to get one more. There you go. Get one more. Before they're forced away, of course. Gaster's Curse. One more Sturmgewehr available. Isildur's Vickers in heavy danger there, but does retreat through smoke, so is safe for now. 6-pounder. Also in a decent position.
Nice little flank, actually. Tommy's in the garrison going to be picking off any retreating models through here. We talked a second ago about the left-hand side of the map not having any units there. Well, Isildur jumped on that opportunity to recapture loads of the map. I would say that's a bit of an error there by Hans and DevM to group up so hard.
Yeah, possibly.
And that's double fuel for the Allies.
I think it was in that central push in. When there's a lot of parity between the teams, when they've gone for a cut-off attempt and then falls back to base, you will see that ebb and flow, to and fro kind of gameplay. And that's what we're seeing right now. Rakettenwerfer being destroyed, thanks to the 6-pounder AT gun of Isildur. Missed on that attempt. Do have some action opening up in the west, though. There we go, Foch Grenadiers forcing in. There is a mine waiting for them. Of course, can't be swept right now. And the Lukes could actually hit that mine if it's not careful, if it decides to get a little bit too aggressive.
Hopefully we don't see that happen. I think one of the best things about the Lukes is just left to right on your side of the river, just controlling the river, basically. When we start to see it going to enemy territory, that's when those mines are going to come in. And we've seen so many mines this game. It is a risk. But good on helping hands here. He noticed how much of the map he lost earlier, and now he's sending units over. DevM and Hans deciding to spread out a little bit more for map control. And I think that's sensible right now.
So, by other competitive game standards, I mean, $1,250 is possibly modest, but by this game standards, it's a lot of money. And for these guys, they're not pros, they are just very competitive amateurs. And the disparity between who loses this match and who wins it is 600 versus 1,250 per player. So there's a lot of money at stake, considering these guys are sort of students. One of them's a professional streamer, for example. This is a big competitive battle for these guys playing for you now. They're playing the hearts out for you. This is a best-of-5 confrontation. It's the second game, and Helping Hands and DevM, the Axis players from the south, are currently winning in Game 2, seemingly. They're doing a good job of it.
Just dodged that line there as he went to go and attack the conscripts. If they do get pushed off by the T-70, though, they might have a problem to deal with.
So do some good shots in there. Conscripts coming in, possibly trying to either feign or threaten an AT grenade. But the other point is the Mosin-Nagant rifles could pick away at the... No, they couldn't get the Stern Pioneer on retreat.
Back in the east again. So Brits struggling. They have upgraded now to the Bren guns, so British infantry we're checking out a little bit more DPS. Raketten here, stealth. It's such a good unit to go in and try and cap behind the lines. It is backed up by some low health Volks Grenadiers, but they will be relatively uncontested. Here's the ISG dealing with the support weapons as it's meant to.
Yeah, it's going to force that away in no time. Just one shot, no manpower casualties though, so just free forcing your opponent away with not much repercussions. We do have the Stukas of Foos on the way. That's incredibly interesting. I've never seen a rocket artillery piece on this particular map.
Unheard of in 2v2.
And what's this? Isildur has gone for the Mammoth tank, the GDI Heavy. This thing has 2 cannons. It's got rocket launchers on both sides of its turret. What a vehicle.
Beautiful vehicle. Love the Cromwell. One of my favourites.
That is a beautiful game. Cromwell, of course, was a mid-war a mid-war tank design from the Brits. An interesting tidbit for you here. Officers of the tank corps were up in arms at the flat-facing armour that the Brits had come up with for this new tank that was going to lead them into northern France. And there was talk of, quite frankly, mutiny, because they were very, very aware that sloped armour was the way to go, and they thought they were being sent to their deaths. And there's letters to that effect. Just an historical tidbit. Back to your regularly scheduled viewing.
I like the information lab. I mean, obviously, CO2 being World War II RTS does bring up a lot of... We always see this.
Biggest conflict in human history probably will be for a very long time until we are invaded by the machines. Nice incendiary grenade. They're just denying the garrison. You want to get into my house? My house is on fire. Get out of my house. Yeah. It's like when you have guests over for Christmas and you go to really drastic lengths to get rid of them after they've overstayed their welcome. Well, the houses are now on fire. You're going to have to go. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Luke's is just leading the way for the Rakettenwerfer. Stern Pioneers recapturing the fuel. Axis still have dominance. That's denoted by their 470 victory point count versus 283.
And Stuka, we see on the field there, hasn't taken its first shot yet. I think they're going to be looking for the prime target. And the surprise factor from these units is always one of the best things. You want to be using it before, before your opponent knows that you have it. Raketin finds out the Cromwell. Can it escape the cone of fire?
Seemingly not. Raketenwerfer isn't able to get a second shot. Oh god, Stern Pioneer gets shot by that precision fire of the Tommies there. Lee Enfield rifles at full accuracy. Here comes the Stuka Zufus. 6 bombs fall high from the sky and don't do much, and no soldiers die. You have to laugh every time I rhyme down, honestly. I'm here all day. You'll laugh yourself out.
Sorry, this always catches me off guard.
When you least expect it. Exactly. Here we come the Welshmen, the Royal Engineers upgrading to a Minesweeper. They'll be able to repair the Cromwell and then make sure it doesn't get hit by anything it doesn't want to.
The Brits are a funny beast because, I mean, this is their repairing unit that comes out of Tier 2, and before that they don't really have an option for repairing, so they need something out for the Cromwell right now. And that's their purpose, to get this back up to full health. It's an important unit. It's got a window of time on the battlefield before Axis start rolling out their counters.
I'm loving Helping Hands' preemptive incendiary grenades. They're just stopping Von Asten being able to get into a skirmish that he wants. And that's what gunfights are all about. It's all about making the gunfight on your terms. You want high ground. You want a position of benefit, of priority. And how Helping Hands is using incendiary grenades is exactly to that effect. If he sees a situation not quite in his favour, he throws an incendiary grenade to turn it into one that is in his favour. And that is fantastic play, and it all adds up. It's all the small things top players do that makes them great.
Yeah, it's a picture built up by a lot of small actions, and one of them, we nearly just saw the T-70 being taken down by a double Raketin stealth in the center. Got a VP battle, and you see cloaked Raketin is stealthily decapping and recapping this victory point. That's going to avoid the suppression fire from the MG, so really good play. We do see Von Asten with the NKVD rifle disruption tactics using fear propaganda at the moment. This will force retreat of units in the area and be a very powerful tool for controlling VPs.
An act of true desperation, the NKVD. You don't want your political commissars having to force you into battle, and that's when it was not going very well for the Soviets. We do now have Devem with the Panzer IV late war variant on the battlefield. This thing is an ultimate killer Alf J variant. It may just take out some of these Tommies right now with the hull gunner and the main cannon firing. One of these squads surely has to bite the dust. Couldn't quite get the kill.
ISG couldn't finish it off on the retreat either. I think Stern Pioneers tried to get a successful flank. They still have an opportunity to, but there's a barrage from Von Asten with the Soviet AT gun. Careful, those.
Thousands upon thousands of you are turning out today in this, the most viewed Company Heroes cast live on Twitch that's ever has been. Stuka Zufus with a nice array of bombs there. So all 6 were roughly on target, so not too shabby. Stern Pioneers being rebuilt for Devem. Panzer IV is just going to come up to the east here and force away those Tommies and Vickers, none of which have any answer to it.
Absolutely not, no. There's it's a fierce fight on all 3 fronts right now. I don't think there's actually stable ground for any of the players. It's constantly shifting hands. One thing that isn't constant, though, VPs for the Allies below 250 right now, so Devem and Helping Hands are having a much stronger game too.
They are, and I don't want to debase this down to just being about factions and crossing in the woods, but that's only because I'm polite. We've got the Panzer II Lukes of Veteracy 2 forcing away the penal battalions. Here comes the Volksgrenadiers. They see the T-70, they recoil from the situation, but they're going to be lurking around to try and get the Panzerfaust should it rear its ugly head yet again. And this is a long-haul situation. This is a best of 5, so although, as I may have mentioned, it is an Axis map kind of matchup that is in favour of the Axis, and that is statistically proven. It is a long-haul situation, so these teams are going to be battling against each other in another map that will be coming in the next game, and that will open things up a little bit in my mind and make things a little bit who's going to win the game 3, because it probably looks like it might be 1-1. But Dan, we're only 19 minutes in, anything can still happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure that actually Von Asten and Isildur have been playing so well as allies in this game. I think if we see another allied game from them, maybe they'll change something up.
I've noted that when allies do tend to win on this game in 2 vs 2, they have to devolve it down into an artillery fest, and that's just the way of it. I think Axis tools are a little bit better when the map is spread and the fields are open. So if they can just demolish that with rockets and huge shells, they can neutralise the situation in their favour. And I have seen that quite a few times, to be honest. Let's see what...
Panzer IV just went down there to the Cromwell on the right-hand side. That's a very important pickup for Isildur with the Cromwell. Cromwell's been played very well, I feel.
There we go, good pickup for the Cromwell there. First big casualty in a while for the Axis. That could help Von Asten and Isildur back into things.
Yeah, do you know, Axis have held a triple cap for a long time, and when you have 3 stars, of course, that is the big thing. That's when the ticker starts to go down. 0.75 VPs per second is the drain down when you have 3 VPs, so that's the fastest you can get your opponent's VPs draining, and it's not something...
That's not true. There's an 11 VP map on the customs...
Oh, right.
on Steam.
Don't do this to me. Don't do it to me.
No, it's called Sammy's Death Zone, and it's got 1 bridge in the centre, and it's built for 8 vs 8 play. It's fantastic. You need to play it, Dan. It's got no features on it. It's just a green rectangle. I must add that, but it's a good one.
Community Workshop out in strong shows.
There are some good ones out there, so do check them out. Great mods as well. Here we go.
Incendiary used there from the MG42 in the building. Incendiary absolutely lethal against light vehicles and infantry alike. We've still got great flanks on this right side from the Volksgrenadiers. They can see the cone of fire from the MG, and they're trying to flank it hard.
Nice Sturmgewehr usage. Getting around the angle of that cover, forcing away the Tommies. Elsewhere in the west, I can see Von Asten starting to get a little bit leery. Starting to push into the centre, yes, with the T-70. Rakettenwerfer about to open up, though. Nice shot there, going to keep it out of battle for a while. And here comes the Panther command tank variant. This offers defensive auras to all vehicles around it, but it's a damn offensive weapon itself, and that's not because it's insulting to your mother on Christmas Day. It's because it's got a very, very good 7.5 cannon, and this thing has very good long accuracy and good penetration, as does what DevM's building right now.
That's right, DevM's going to be building the Jagdpanzer IV. We'll give that unit a little bit of an introduction when it comes out, but there's a lot happening on the field at the moment, and it's because Isildur has gone for Mobile Assault Regiment as Brits. He's playing the land mattress, and that's the really loud rockets you can hear all over the exit of Helping Hands and DevM's base right now.
And there you go, it's obliterating units that dare show their heads. And we've got a lot of movement here. There's the MG gun, the denier of movement, a tale as old as time in Company of Heroes. A constant battle. Here's the Jagdpanzer IV. This thing is a fantastic weapon for this map. It's a long, open map, and a tank destroyer with its low profile and lack of mobility does make use of a great cannon.
Von Asten manages to get a snare off on the Panzer II Luke's. He's got nothing to back it up, though. The AT gun gets into position, but hasn't really been effective against the Luke's in this game. Things, however, heating up on the east side of the map as both Helping Hands and DevM try to double down on Isildur to get hold of that fuel on the right side. Under cover of smoke there from the ISG, a Stern Pioneer and Volksgrenadier should be able to secure that. The question is, do they have the indirect fire to clear support weapons from the other side of the map?
There's another way that OKW have become a full-fledged and respectable faction. They do have smoke from the ISG nowadays. Here comes the Panther. It's facing the right way. It's firing over the pond. What was it firing at there?
Firing at the
Tommies. Interesting. Okay.
Not the best use of ammunition.
Possibly not. You don't get that many rounds in a tank, but well, of course you do in Company Heroes, you get infinite, but in real life that is. Here we go. We've got nice Sturmgewehr usage forcing away the Tommies. Elsewhere, the Rakettenwerfers lurk. They're going to try and hunt for any tank that comes around those bushes. Could have been the Cromwell, but that's safely over to the victory point there.
Oh, I think we're going to see a successful... Oh, no, they don't get it because the Raketten was uncloaked. Unfortunately, one dies. He's got to get that other one out of there. I thought he was going to go to cut off the Cromwell. That didn't work.
It's always going to be difficult. They were spotted and they were eviscerated. So nice little pick-up for Von Asten and Isildur there. They're battling back down.
Von Asten and Isildur have turned this map from a sea of red into a nice calm blue for us.
Or a Pokeball, I would say. It's divided. But certainly the top used to be
a
red.
Nintendo Switch.
Indeed. Oh, that didn't do anything. Made his foot a little bit warmed up. We do have...
I always want these to hit, but...
You're such a sadist. What have we got? A Silder building. Looks a little bit like a Sherman Firefly there.
It does indeed. Oh, I didn't realise we had Von Asten just building the Katusha.
Stalin organs warming up its vocal cords. Oh, a hell of a lot of rockets. Still used to this day in the Middle East, of course. This tractor-based design's fantastic. Just should turn some of these graphs around. Look at Helping Hands' preservation. This guy is a marvel when it comes to keeping what you've got alive and just being a rock for your opponent to break themselves upon. Sherman Firefly there, of course. British ingenuity. Couldn't fit the cannon in the tank, so they turned the cannon sideways.
By the way, we've just got Luftwaffe selected for DevM. He's making use of Valiant Assault at the moment, which means his infantry are supercharged. They're all over the battlefield. They're highly vetted and they're equipped, and they're going to be getting on the flanks to try and push away any of those units in the center. Here's the first shot from the Katusha. It's trying to take down the Raketen with a successful shot.
Yes, it was successful indeed. That's all it's going to do for now, though. Valiantly, the Foch Grenadiers are running away there to the west of the picture. Katusha finishes its barrage, and look at that nice assortment of armour that has been built up for Von Asten and Silder. Now they have won the infantry engagement for the past 5 minutes of play, much to possibly naysaying from myself and then some people in chat saying this game looks over. Well, it certainly was looking over. Then Von Asten and Silder started to find themselves and started to find nice tactical victories here and there, and they did start to add up. More fire.
Yeah, this is the land mattress, actually, from Isildur. He's trying to just cause chaos in the center, maybe get some wipes on retreating models. This is a bad retreat from DevM, though. He's retreated 2 squads through it. I think he lost one then.
Lost a lot of soldiers regardless, and that's a big manpower casualty for him. That's going to keep that central victory point in Allied hands for time to come. So they have dropped 180 victory points, but they're now stable. Foch Grenadiers being forced away. More rockets firing, the bombs go high into the sky, and what's going to die? It's a lottery out there because it's just, you know, a survival of the luckiest.
I really like this, by the way. The conscripts have picked up the Bren gun, and conscripts veterancy too, I believe, have 40% accuracy increase. So that's a big pickup for them. They're a very good squad with that.
Got another Stuka coming out for Helping Hands. This guy's going to try his luck in... Oh, look at this tactical battle group from Hans. Resurgent onto the battlefield. That conscript did not stand a chance. Von Asten uses fear propaganda artillery somewhere, by the way. I wonder where he's dropping those leaflets. Oh, it's right on the blob, but he missed them. There's just some bedtime reading for when they get home, I guess.
I think he's trying to stop them from moving on to the VPs, because they're draining the VPs hard. May as well spend the munitions that way. But look at this, he's Helping Hands spreading out his units to try and get around the suppression cone of fire there. This is a great push. He's going to be able to move the position of that Maxim for sure. And in the background, we've got the Panther trying to clear up some of the penal battalions. Great push. Completely removes Von Asten from that side of the map.
Yeah, clean sweep there. And they've now got to recapture... They don't have a pee at Dan. You do not want a spring-launched rocket, right? It's not a good idea. The Brits thought of it, they tried it, it's rubbish. And the Stern Pioneers die just looking at it. Jesus. That was a nice Katusha barrage there. Stern Pioneers paid the price. A very valuable squad has now died. Oh!
Well, that was going to be a bigger hit there, but the Stuka, of course, they're just guessing targets at the moment. Indirect fire on Crossing in the Woods is a known, and it has to be assumed that it will... devolve into this.
We're casting one of... I always think when a foreigner looks at like British cricket, for example, like test match cricket commentary.
Right.
This is very similar to this. It's like, look, Jeffrey, there's another rocket artillery barrage. What a fantastic centrepiece that was. He's lining up for the crease, and here comes the Katusha. Lovely motion. Only 20 men died this time. Oh, time for tea. It's like some weird kind of celebration of death and Armageddon.
It's got its sad points, hasn't it?
It has. This is beautiful as a spectacle goes, but I do think that unfortunately on this map with 2 versus 2, it does become a bit of what we in the community call an arty fest. And that isn't a festival of art.
I don't know if I use such polite terminology normally. But But the idea of this, I mean, at this point, you know, the game becomes loud. It becomes difficult. What we've got dropped here, we've got DevM. He's dropping in, I think it's Ju-87s from Luftwaffe. It's going to suppress some infantry and help to deal with the tanks. But the Axis find themselves deep into enemy territory.
Look at that Panzer II. It's going all the way around the cusp there. Destroys the house by driving past it. Gets hit by the 6-pounder there. The Command Panther's also in peril. Here comes the other T-70 taking some cheeky pot shots at the rear. That Cromwell's doing well as well. The Panther's trying to find it. But this is an absolute terrible showing for DevM and Hansa. Should they lose another tank here? T-70, the little tank that cut's chasing him. He's chasing him. He got him.
Oh, no. Don't crash into the Katusha.
He got him. Nice work from the T-70.
That was a terrible push, I have to say, because, you know, they lost so much health on the initial push. They decided to commit, and really, they're lucky to get away with any tanks.
I can't believe it. How could DevM and Hans, let's face it, throw that engagement so badly? They lost so much there. They've only got the Jagdpanzer remaining. Where is that Jagdpanzer? Just want to check on its health. It's safe. It's safe. That's the only thing they've got. Can we just check on helping Hansa's forces for a moment?
Of course, yeah.
Right, he's just got a Stuka. The other one must have bitten the dust there.
Well, that was the Command Panther that went down. The Panzer IV was from DevM. That went down. Just not a good engagement.
Check out the graphs, Dan. If you look at the graphs now, oh my god, do not buy stocks or shares in helping us DevM. Because
the markets are closed. The markets are closed.
What's that? Just flew past the window. That was helping Han's DevM stockbroker.
Oh, well, if allies needed an entry into the game, we say this about Company of Heroes, when things look certain that someone's winning, it just takes a little mistake, and suddenly the favors, it's completely changed now. And Company of Heroes can turn like that. That's why you don't want to quit the game too early. Keep playing your best, and stuff like this can always happen. Ooh, I think he's bringing along
he's got one. He's
soldiers.
Got a trophy. That's sick tank. And he's going for the Stuka, of course. Here he goes. He gets him. He might get the Jagdpanzer. What a nice foray for Isildur. He's got very strong frontal armor. Is now facing and should be able to polish off the job. One lucky penetration could turn things around.
No.
Have to be very lucky.
This is that sloped armor from the Jagdpanzer IV. It was
the
not
T-70 came in as well. They're just having a laugh now.
Game of throws. Absolutely. Here he comes again.
Isildur
and Von Asten are not content to just play the game.
He got it. If he escapes, that's so funny. He won't escape, though.
I don't know. Oh, the Raketans there, no. So they're never going to get away with that.
Isildur are taking the mick here. I've just realised, by the way, this is a direct rematch of the last big 2 versus 2 community tournament we had. I think it was Ultimate Team Tournament. So there's a lot of pride at stake here. And that was a big show of cockiness. And, you know, I can't believe they did that.
I think in a way, though, it's very sensible because they're just winning in territory. Look at the map, you know, it's completely allied map right now. They're going to be getting in the resources to use more abilities, build more units. It's a huge pressure for the Axis. They can hold them in their base territories and blast them with indirect fire and via propaganda, which just keeps them retreating back to their base. It's
we feel like we're watching a WWE kind of game there. And what's this? The Undertaker's back on his feet. I think because the players had a little bit of moments of just having a laugh at their opponents, basically. It could become a bit comical.
Oh, how rude is this? The Katusha is firing into the base territory right now. Von Asten is... Von Asten, come on.
So they got no kills with that one yet.
No. That was just a warning shot.
Oh dear, you do not want to lose his Axis on crossing in the woods. I mean, people may say I was talking BS earlier when I thought that game was over, but statistically speaking, I wasn't. And it's there in the stats the community's collected over the tournaments we've had in the past. So to lose on this map as Axis is not a good showing, and DevM and Hans are going to have to give themselves a stern talking to after this game to get into the game 3.
Absolutely. I'd say the chances look very slim right now. You check out the veterancy on the allies. You can see here, compare it. You know, DevM still got some units that are high vet, but Hans is going to struggle for the rest of this game. It all came down to one little mistake.
And they won't be getting the $1,250 each at this rate.
Look at the graphs. Wow.
not very good indeed.
Oh my lord! That was a mine. That was a Brit mine on the retreat. They avoided it on the way up. Relaxing. The Cromwell's going to crush
BM mine. That is a BM mine, and that BM mine causes the GG. And we're going to have to see what happens in game 3.
Victory is ours.
Welcome back, everyone. That was an amazing game too. Very unexpected. What looked like a really strong game from Helping Hands and DevM crumbled to pieces in mere seconds. I do want to go back to that graph because I just you don't see that happen. From such a strong position. Look at the peak. It's just
the rise and fall of the Helping Hands and DevM empire, and Isildur and Von Asten showing why they were the number 1 ranked team in the first qualifying tournament. Just on paper, the referees and a few players thought, yeah, these guys. But what I'm going to do a metaphor for you now, Dan.
Okay.
I'm Helping Hands and DevM, and this is the game.
Okay.
I just threw the game.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, that was fantastic.
I'm here all day, everybody.
I think in that game, like, really, Isildur and Von Asten are so much calmer. Every time we see them, like the way they're even using their units, they're not diving so much. They're kind of luring Hands and DevM into it and then crushing them. But the big thing, I think, is that Hands, you see him coming to support DevM on the right, and then suddenly there are no units on the left of the map. Allies get all the control again, and then get the resources to build the counters and then play better. So they need to keep the map control, which they rightfully had for so long. And just sit on it.
Yes, correct. You're exactly right. They weren't conservative enough in that game. They were too aggressive at the wrong moments, in the wrong way, at the wrong time. And they genuinely just threw the game. It's as simple as that in my mind. You can't take anything away from Von and Isildur. And we had a different conversation about a game yesterday where I was very much, it's more about the positives of what happened from the other team. It's not about the negatives of the team that lost, but in this case it is more the onus on the teams that lost. Because Von Asten and Isildur were always going to have a very good game in that game too, because they know they're allies, they have to do everything right, and they've got very small margins of error, and they didn't do much wrong. But DevM and Helping Hands certainly did. It's one for them to analyse.
Absolutely, yeah. And amazing to see a T-70 take down a Command Panther.
That was wonderful. The little tank that good.
You don't get to see that every day.
No.
Unless you watch that game every day.
So let's do our plugging. Do you want to do the game? Do you want to do us? I love plugging. It's
Absolutely.
fun.
Well, I haven't personally been able to say thank you very much to SEGA, because you and I have been casting loads in this community over the last 5 years. It started with Relics put into ESL, Relic and SEGA's put into ESL, and then obviously went through a number of tournaments. We've run GCS and King of the Hill. But yeah, SEGA to put on this event. It's very, very welcome in the community. It's a growing competitive game. There's new life in it. This only just breathes fresh air. So thank you, obviously, to SEGA and Relic for putting on this event. And the free weekend, a really good way to just get loads more players in. It's free at the moment on Steam. And if you download it right now, you can keep it forever.
You can't buy the game right now. It's
you can't
impossible.
buy the game.
None of you can buy this game, so don't even try. You can get the game for free, though, should you click it into your library. It's all you have to do, and you've got till Monday to do it, so make sure you do.